Cheat code. Support strategist. By clouds. My head in the clouds, not coming down. On AO3. Chapter 11. Welcome to UA. The opening ceremonies were interesting, for lack of a better word. Izuku didn't see Katsuki anywhere, which was honestly a good thing, but it was still kind of worrying. Well, Izuku wouldn't put it beyond him to just skip the assembly and hang out behind the dumpsters or something. He didn't think Katsuki would pull something like that on the first day. Oh well, if he made a poor first impression, then that wasn't Izuku's problem. The general muttering of the students died down, and Izuku turned to the stage to see Present Mike striding out onto the stage. Hey, everybody! How's everybody doing this morning? To Izuku's surprise, Present Mike's enthusiasm was met with a general non-response. He didn't know why. This was Present Mike, the voice hero. He had his own radio show and everything. Midoriya, one of his classmates, the bald one, said softly. Are you aware that you're mumbling again? Izuku slammed his mouth shut and blushed. Sorry, I am. I'll try to stop. Ugh, you're all idiots. The curly-girled hair leaned over Emil's lap and shoved the pencil in his face. Izuku took it hesitantly, not wanting to be rude. Thank you, but why? She rolled her eyes. Put it in your mouth. If you start talking, it'll fall out. Izuku's eyes widened. It was such a simple solution that Izuku didn't know why he hadn't ever thought of that before. Thank you so much. Whatever. She settled back into her seat and crossed her arm. Just use your chew toy so the rest of us can hear the damn assembly. Izuku nodded faintly and bit down on the pencil as he turned back to the stage. President Mike had failed spectacularly at getting a response from the crowd. Had apparently just decided to move on to the next order of business. Well, everybody, welcome to UA High, the premier high school in Japan. To our upperclassmen, welcome back, and good luck with your next year's study. To our brand new first years, congratulations! Not just anybody can walk these halls, and it takes a lot of hard work and dedication to sit where you're sitting. That being said, don't get compliant, little listeners. We've each got our own stars we're reaching for, and you're gonna have to work extra hard. Got it? So we're all gonna have to go plus ultra! This time, at least the students responded exactly how President Mike wanted, earning a smile as he skipped back to the line of chairs across the stage where all the teachers and faculty were sitting, two of which were empty for some reason. Were there more teachers that weren't at the assembly? Or did they set up extra chairs for some other reason? The next part of the assembly consisted of the faculty all introducing themselves briefly, and Izuku dropped the pencil in his mouth twice as he instinctively tried to ramble about each hero's quirk. He ended up taking out his own notebook and writing down his observations instead, adding subtle observations that he was only able to notice from up close. He was at UA. He'd be learning from pros. It was so surreal. After each of the gathered teachers had gotten a chance to introduce themselves, President Mike stood again. All right, listeners. Some of you have noticed a couple empty chairs up here next to us awesome teachers. That is because two of the teachers you all haven't met yet. You upperclassmen know who one of them is, but for the first years, you might be in luck or unlucky enough to see our local cryptid in the halls. Aizawa Shota, pro hero name Eraserhead, is off hazing his own first year class. So wish them luck, they're gonna need it. Izuku's eyes widened. The underground hero. He couldn't beat All Might as Izuku's favorite hero because All Might, but he was a close second. He fought practically quirkless, and he could take away other people's quirks at will. And he was a teacher here? What did Present Might mean by hazeling? Was that where Katsuki was? Izuku felt a brief surge of jealous anger. Katsuki got to learn from one of Izuku's favorite teachers. He couldn't even appreciate the nuisance of Eraserhead's fighting styles. Unforbid, an image of Katsuki getting his explosion erased as he tangled in Eraserhead's capture weapon came to mind, and Izuku snickered quickly. Okay, so maybe Katsuki learning from one of his favorite teachers wouldn't be all bad. But that still leaves one more teacher that you listeners haven't met yet. President Mike continued. He's a special new addition to our staff this year. You first hero students will be in for a real treat because he is the number one hero, the symbol of peace, the newest member of our staff, All Might. Izuku's jaw dropped, and he knew he wasn't the only one as a booming laugh echoed around the auditorium and the number one hero himself strode out from behind the curtain. I am here to help mount the next generation of heroes. The auditorium exploded in applause, and Izuku added to it wholeheartedly. He was going to be in the same building as All Might. This might be why he was in town, but how was he going to teach classes if he only had 3 hours in his hero form? Did he still have 3 hours? Or had saving Kachan from the sludge villain cut down that time? What were the repercussions of him going over his limit? There was a chatter as his pencil dropped on his lap again, and Izuku hurriedly put it back into his mouth so he wouldn't murmur. Thankfully, no one could have heard him over the applause, but it would still be a better thing to think about when he was alone. Maybe he could come up with ways to counter or even minimize the effect of the injury, or maybe Mel could come up with some sort of illusion tech so he wouldn't have to use his hero time to teach, but that would involve telling her about All Might's other form, and he couldn't betray the hero's trust like that. Later, he could think about that later. For now, All Might had taken a seat in the empty chair that was almost ridiculously too small for him, and Nezu was climbing a set of steps on the side of the podium. Hello, students. Am I a mouse? A dog? A bear? What's important is I'm the principal. UA has a specific legacy, and Nezu began to talk about the history of the school, and Izuku was on the edge of his seat as he listened. For the first 10 minutes, me had lost interest about after 3, and began to sketch out invention ideas. Izuku really tried to pay attention. This man was going to be his teacher. He couldn't just tune him out. His classmates seemed to be as bored as he was, and eventually Izuku decided that he could probably just apologize if he needed to, and tuned to flesh out his analysis of the staff. Occasionally, Mio would poke him in the arm and point to a particular diagramma, asking an unspoken question. He would think for a moment before writing something besides her drawing. It went like that for another 15 minutes before Nezu finally stopped talking. But I'm getting carried away. Nezu clapped his paws together, waking up a few of the students that had fallen asleep during the speech. You all have bright futures ahead of you, and I am excited to help you cultivate that light. So as the principal of UA, congrats and welcome to UA High School. There was a hesitant round of applause that got louder as Nezu descended the steps, and the teachers all left the stage to recover their classes. Within a few minutes, Paralotta was leading them back to the classroom. As they were walking back, the kid in their class with the shark quirk placed his hand on Izuku's shoulder and patted it consolingly. I'm sorry, Midoriya. I don't know how you're going to survive being Nezu's personal student if he's really that long-winded all the time. He wasn't that way during the entrance exam, Izuku tried. But maybe that was just because he didn't want to distract me as I was hacking UA. He ended up running into the girl walking from front of him as his classmates stopped, walking in shock. You hacked UA during the entrance exam? What the fuck? I didn't get far, Izuku defended, waving his hands in front of him nervously. I think they just wanted to see how I approach unsolvable problems, that's it. Yeah, May said, and I'm sure it didn't hurt that you already gotten a head start before the exam even started. Izuku turned to her in betrayal. May? Their classmates kept their distance from the two for the rest of the way to the lab. When they were there, everyone sat down at their tables, and Izuku went back to his room, noticing for the first time that there was a small school desk that had been placed outside the door, probably for when class had a lecture instead of a lab. Before he could decide if he was supposed to go into his room or sit in the desk, Paralotta cleared his throat to get their attention. We have about 20 minutes until class officially ends, he said. So why don't each of you introduce yourselves? I know that the support course has a lot more individual work than business course or hero course, but it would still be helpful to get to know your classmates. Who wants to go first? The kid with the shark quirk shrugged and stood up. What you want to know? Just say your name and quirk, dumbass. The curled-haired girl grippled. Izuku felt his stomach stink. Yeah, he knew it was coming, but it was still would have been nice if he didn't have to reveal his quirklessness right off the bat. Oh well, they already thought he was creepy. Now there was just pity mix in. I'm Ryu Hanzu. My quirk is Great White, and I make waterproof tech. My quirk lets me do anything a shark can do, which means I could breathe in the water, so I spend a lot of time swimming as a kid. And would have totally spent weeks at a time in the ocean, but my phone and video games wouldn't work, so I'ma fix that. Izuku had never realized that there would be an inconvenience to people with ambivalent quirks, but he supposed that it made sense. Most technologies was made to be used by people in air, and most waterproof tech had a limit on either time or depth. Hansu would most definitely have a niche as an inventor if he could figure out how to move past those limitations. The class eyes turned to the bald kid with the pointy ears, who was sitting next to Hansu. Oh, I'm next? Okay, my name is Shinshigeru, and my quirk is called Goblin. I, instinctively know the location of any non-living object I've ever touched. The accuracy goes down with time, though, so if I haven't touched something in 10 years, I'll be able to tell you the city it's in, but not any more specific than that. I, just like building things. He sat down almost before he finished speaking, and the class turned to the next student, which was the girl with curly hair. I am Akane Kohaku. And this mess, the girl gestured to her curls, which rattled slightly as they caught the light, is my quirk. It's called copper wire, and it's a total pain to cut. Yes, it conducts electricity. Yes, I use it in my inventions. No, you can't touch it. Got it? The introductions continued like that for the rest of the class until it got to May. Hi, I'm May Hatsume, future CEO of Hatsume Industries. My quirk is Zoom, and it lets me see up close to 5 kilometers away. My babies are gonna change the world. Izuku chuckled quickly as he noticed her classmates instinctively lean back from May's enthusiasm. He was finally getting used to it himself, but it was still funny to see how people reacted to her. Izuku noticed that the class was looking at him, and he froze as he realized he was next. In fact, he was the last student to introduce himself. Hesitantly, he stood up. I'm Izuku Midoriya. I like analyzing heroes and quirks, so I want to be a support analyst and help heroes work smarter and be better. Izuku glanced at the clock. Class should be ending any second now. He could do this. Just bite the bullet. And I'm quirkless. The bell rang. Doing Present Mike's energetic, loud voice and like demeanor or whatever, it is really fun. I'm gonna have a lot of fun when I start doing more fanfics where he's kind of the center of it. I'm actually looking at Eraser Mike fics that I could do, or fics that center around either Eraser Mike or both of them being parental figures, or like whatever. I'm searching around in which fanfics I can do. If you guys have any recommendations on a good Eraser Mike fanfic series that I could do, or even a one-shot, go ahead and put it in the comments and I'll figure out what I could do. But yeah. Also, very much hated the very end of this fanfic. Not like hated it like, oh, it was so bad. I hated it because I had to podfic it because I hate names so damn hard. I'm pretty sure I butchered all their names. I definitely butchered all their names. As always, make sure to eat, sleep, drink water, take your meds, and have a wonderful day or night. Please subscribe to see more of my content, and thank you so much for watching.